Broadcasting live from the BBQ Central Show studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the BBQ Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right. Welcome back. This portion of the show is being brought to you by Butcher's Barbecue, makers of award-winning injections, marinades, rubs, and seasonings, barbecue sauces, grilling oils, all of Butcher Barbecue products tested on the competition circuit as well as in backyards worldwide. Go to butcherbbq.com to stock up. October 1st, this is where it all went the hell last time. October 1st, Dave Bosca is slated to join us. How exciting. Okay. Not sure exactly what happened, but the cat is out of the bag. We will now race to the hotline. And welcome back, third Tuesday of the month, guest Stephen Raichlen. Hey, Stephen. All right, Stephen, are you there?
I am here. Can you hear me?
My God. We are battling technical issues, the likes we haven't seen since the early 80s. I apologize for that, Stephen. You're right on time. I don't know exactly what the hell is going on here.
Are you wearing your pajama bottoms? Is the secret out now?
Well, I mean, it's not pajama bottoms. These are what I call my comfy clothes. You know, I go right to bed after the show. I mean, it's 11 o'clock. I got to go right to bed. I'm up at 5, running 5 miles. So, you know, let's do it cozy, right? Why not? All right, so Stephen Raichlen is here, and we are talking live fire as we do the third Tuesday of the month with him. And let's start with the recent blog post. So I always love going to barbecuebible.com, which is where everybody should be going on a regular basis. So not only can we kind of follow what you're up to, but there's recipes, stuff that you're doing. Every once in a while you invite some guests on, and they give their own recipes and stuff too. Skirt steak. Let's talk about skirt steak and what the best uses are in your estimation, and perhaps more importantly, like what I'm not a big skirt steak. I don't see it a lot, I guess, or it's just not readily available to me, so it's not like top of the mind to go look for. So what's a good skirt steak look like, and how do we want to use it?
Well, skirt steak, I mean, first of all, the Spanish word or the Mexican Spanish word for it is fajita, and that's where we get the dish fajitas. It's a skinny, long strip of meat that goes around the underbelly of the steer. It's fibrous cut like flank steak, but if you cook it quickly and you don't overcook it and you slice it thinly, it is super flavorful and as tender as you could wish for. I call it a real steak lover's steak. You know, it has a real meaty, beefy flavor.
Is there a inner and an outer skirt too? I mean, if we're starting to break it down, do you know of?
Actually, I'm not aware of an inner and outer. There may be. That would be a question for a butcher or a meat anatomist.
All right. Well, we might have a butcher on in the second hour, so I'll ask the world champ of the American Royal Open what he knows about in and out skirt steaks. So the other thing that I see a lot with skirt steaks, and I guess maybe I don't want to say steaks in general, but is chimichurri, right? So I'm sure a lot of people know about chimichurri and its very high levelness, but I don't know. This is going to come to no surprise as you, right, Stephen? Over the years, we know that I'm a pretty lame palate guy. I've seen chimichurri. I've seen it made on Food Network 100 times. I don't think I've actually ever had chimichurri on steak or as a side of anything to put over something. So let's talk.
Heavens, well, what are you doing tomorrow night? Come on over for dinner, my friend.
Yeah, I'll gas up the private jet and we'll go due north. So let's talk about chimichurri, the components that it's made up of, and best uses.
Sure. Chimichurri is the national steak sauce of Argentina and Uruguay. It's a very simple mixture. You could think of it as a pesto made with garlic and flat leaf parsley instead of basil. No nuts or cheese. Or you could think of it as an herb-scented and garlic-fortified vinaigrette sauce. Basically, you put garlic and parsley in a food processor, grind them up, add wine vinegar for acidity, olive oil for richness, and enough salt and pepper to bring it all together. Some people like to add hot pepper flakes too. And when you're in Argentina or Uruguay, this is the table sauce that you'll find. Every version is slightly different. On the website this week, we're featuring steak sauce with 3 chimichurris. Okay, so the first one I just described, that's the most common, very widely enjoyed around the U.S., around North America, around the world. And it's actually one of the great steak sauce success stories. What I like about it, there isn't a gram of an ounce of sugar in it. Mm-hmm. So it is a completely serious, non-sweet sauce for beef. By the way, interesting variation, you can substitute cilantro and or mint for some of the parsley, and you wind up with a 3-herb or 2-herb chimichurri.
All right.
It's great. By the way, the word is believed to come from a Basque term for all mixed up or a mixture. Anyhow, so that's the first chimichurri, the most widely available. Now, when I was researching Barbecue Bible, I came across a dry chimichurri, and this is probably the original chimichurri. It was dried oregano, dried thyme, mixed with salt, hot pepper flakes, and you either use it dry as a rub or you sprinkle it, you dissolve a little oil in it, and then just that's those dry herbs and oil. It's very similar, primitive. If you eat steak in the countryside in Argentina or on a ranch in Argentina or Uruguay, that's what you're likely to get. Now, the third type of chimichurri, I found that a landmark chop house in Buenos Aires called La Cabaña, the old one, the old La Cabaña, which had a chandelier the size of a Volkswagen. It was very kind of clubby, old Argentina. And that chimichurri is actually reddened with tomato and roasted bell pepper, hot pepper flakes. So 3 different colors of chimichurri, 3 different styles. All of them heaven sent for your skirt steak.
So is the middle one that you were talking about like that, I guess what you would say is the traditional one, is that more of almost like a finishing dust, if you will? So you would cook it and then finish that beef with it over the top and then serve?
Well, to be honest with you, just trying to be an accurate reporter, the way it was served, it was those dry ingredients, right? The salt, the pepper, hot pepper flakes, oregano, dried thyme, were mixed and then dissolved in a little oil. So it was kind of like an herb-flavored oil that was spooned over steak. It was great. Now, I, always in the spirit of deconstructing and reconstructing, I actually like to make that dry mixture, use it as a rub for the steak, then add the oil separately to keep the steak moist during grilling, then serve the fresh chimichurri on top. So it's multiple layers of chimichurri.
Do you have any idea how well-known the other 2 chimichurris are? I mean, like here in the States, I guess?
Not very. I've never seen them. I've never seen them outside of Argentina. We are, in fact, with my Project Smoke spice rub line, we are working on an Argentinian steak rub that, in effect, will be this dry chimichurri.
All right, so I know you are a fan of cilantro, and yes. I am a huge fan of cilantro, but cilantro seems to be falling in that love-hate, and I don't understand the hate, but
very simple explanation.
Okay, let's hear it.
In roughly 10% of the population, the taste bud wiring and chemistry is such that when you eat fresh cilantro, it tastes like soap.
Really?
It's like the way some people are colorblind and some people aren't. Well, some people, about 10% of the population, taste cilantro, and what they get is soap. And my wife is in that category, which is terrible because I love cilantro.
Right. Wow. Well, that's a great bit of information here given up by Stephen Raichlen. BBQBible.com, of course, is the website. Let me ask you about, as we're kind of in the beef mood here, I don't know why exactly, but I've been getting a lot of questions during the course of the week about pit beef. And I know pit beef, man, it was, what seems like 100 years ago when I was watching you on Barbecue University through PBS doing Baltimore pit beef sandwiches on that big Weber Ranch kettle. So I wanted to ask you about it, and maybe we can just kind of briefly go over a little history and what the traditional cut would be and how you would make it and serve.
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. So, yeah, I grew up in Baltimore. Pit beef was Baltimore's version of barbecue. You had to go down to Pulaski Highway, which was definitely on the wrong side of town where I grew up, to get it. The meat they used, they traditionally used top round or bottom round, so a real tough, flavorful but tough cut of beef, which was grilled over charcoal. And the way you made it not only edible but palatable was slicing it paper thin on a meat slicer. So you shorten those meat fibers to next to nothing. And that's still how it's prepared on Pulaski Highway. Chaps is kind of the famous go-to place for pit beef. Now, in Project Fire this season, my show on PBS, we did what I called an uptown pit beef sandwich. Because you probably gathered by now, I'm always tinkering with recipes.
Yep.
So instead of the cheap, tough top round or bottom round, I took a rib roast, a prime rib roast, and I spit roasted it on a wood-burning rotisserie, a Kalamazoo wood-burning rotisserie.
Mm-hmm.
And I used, it was a pretty simple rub. It was a salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, hot pepper flake kind of rub, and got it just super crusty. Now, because that pit beef, prime rib is so tender, you don't need to slice it paper thin. The sauce is traditionally, it's a horseradish sauce. I make a mayonnaise horseradish sauce. And it's served traditionally on a Kaiser roll. I may have used a brioche bun. There may have been some thinly sliced onions, but it's a magnificent, and you can find that on my website, BBQBible.com. It's actually, you can find the old school version and the new school version. But it's a great sandwich.
Stephen Raichlen joining us here on the show. The other thing that I wanted to mention before we take off here this evening, and I apologize for the abridged segment here because of my technical issues, was the fact that, and this was your note to me before we went on a little bit ago, that the James Beard Award Committee has decided to change it up a little bit and make California and Texas their own region. So making those two regions, how was it prior, and do you have any insight as to why they decided to bust these two out on their own?
Well, how it was before was Texas was part of the South. And if you think about the enormous diversity of cuisines going from Florida to New Orleans to the Carolinas to Georgia, Atlanta, Dallas, Miami, I mean, there is no coherent reason to group those together. Mm. And Texas is undergoing such an immense food renaissance today. And with regards to California, I mean, the same thing. California is enormous. And to lump Nevada and Arizona and Oregon and Washington together with California, I think it made very much sense to divide and conquer. I think part of the motivation from this actually stems from barbecue. And you may remember that in 2015, Aaron Franklin of Franklin's Barbecue became the first barbecue restaurant ever to win a regional James Beard Award. So I think that got the Beard Foundation thinking about Texas and all its incredible bounty in a very different way.
Yeah. Do you think California is food sustainable enough or diverse enough? I mean, certainly, Southern California, San Diego on up, but I mean, don't you get to a certain point in California where it's really just mostly cows before you get into Oregon?
Greg, my God, I mean, Los Angeles ought to be its own region, and I wouldn't be surprised if someday it is. But no, I mean, you think about California, so you've got L.A., I mean, you've got San Diego with the heavy Mexican cross-border influence, Los Angeles, which is a melting pot of everything, Asian, Hispanic, New American. San Francisco has a very different cuisine. Then there's the Berkeley with its orientation of health food. You go up into the Napa Valley, Sonoma Valley, the wine country cuisine. I think it was a very good call.
All right. We are talking with Stephen Raichlen. He is happy to show up. Well, at least I think he's happy to show up here the third Tuesday of every month.
You didn't answer right away, and I got nervous.
What do you mean?
Well, I was usually, you call it exactly 10:16, and it wasn't until 9:16. Wasn't until 9:18. I thought, oh my God.
Yes, I know. Oh, just the technical bugs were abound. So I appreciate your stick-to-itiveness here and muscling through as always. Again, third Tuesday of the month, Stephen Raichlen is here. In the meantime, BBQBible.com and ProjectFire.com as well. That's the TV show on PBS. Stephen, always appreciate the time, and we'll look for you again next month.
Good to see you. All
right, there he is, Stephen Raichlen. Muscling through, and I mean, really, we're still in the middle of a tremendous bug issue right now. Wow, I'm hoping that my local recording is going to be good enough for me to rip the audio off. So don't be too scared if the audio isn't like right up tomorrow in the podcast form. But we're working on it. For some reason, the bug must have been in the audio recording software. I mean, can that be? Adobe Audition, have you let me down? Do I have to find another lever? Grill Girl coming up out of the break. Let me talk to you quickly about Hartville. It's going on this weekend. Oh my God, if you are on the fence, you are quickly running out of time to buy your plane tickets to get to Cleveland and then drive about 45 minutes to an hour south and then east to Hartville, Ohio. Yes, it is a dry county. Get over it. You can hang out with the likes of me. Yes, Hartville Hardware, the country's largest hardware store. To put in perspective, there's homes inside the hardware store. Homes inside the hardware store. There's a huge grilling area and retail area, like 3,000, 4,000 square feet. There's going to be an all-day event coming up on Saturday. We're going to kick it off around 10 a.m. I'll be there 8:30, hobnobbing with top men and women in the industry. And then, as I said, 10 o'clock, we'll kick it all off. There's going to be live demonstrations. Diva Q's got at least 2 live ones going on. Lisa Delgado, who will be repping the Big Green Egg, has at least 1, possibly 2 going on. There's going to be somebody from Weber also putting on live demonstrations like crazy. Also, there's going to be a rib contest. I don't know if there's actually openings still or not, but you want to give Hartville Hardware a call. If they have openings, go ahead and enroll. I think you can use Weber grills. You can use Big Green Egg grills. You can use Traeger grills if you want. Some of those might be sold out. Then you can buy used grills at a discount at the end. I'll be judging the rib contest. I believe Diva and Lisa and the Weber person will be part of that judging as well. Some folks from Hartville Hardware. So, you at least got 2 good pallets. Me and the D bringing the heat. So competitors doing your rib contest, you better bring it, because at least 2 of us are going to be judging with a discerning barbecue palate. Again, HartvilleHardware.com is the website. Grillfest 2019, 10 a.m. this coming Saturday. Hang out, ask questions, interact. We'll take pictures. We'll sign autographs. It's going to be great. Me and Diva Q in the same place, interacting live. We've done it on this show for years. We will do it live for you in person twice in one day, at least twice. HartvilleHardware.com. That's HartvilleHardware.com. We're back with Robyn Lindars right after this. Stick around. Be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the BBQ Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Right, welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by CookinPellets.com, your number one source for quality wood pellets for all your pellet-driven cookers. You visit CookinPellets.com for more information. You can also purchase there. If you're leery of CookinPellets.com website for some reason, you go to Amazon.com. You purchase there as well. They also have a bunch of dealers scattered across the country, so check it out. Maybe looking at the dealers first might be closer to you. And you're supporting the dealers of Cooking Pellets who support this show. See, it's a thing. Do I spy Butcher's Daughter Barbecue in the chat on YouTube? Donna Fong. Wow, honored. What's up, Donna? Happy to have you in the chat. All right. We will do this first, and we'll go do that. Joining me now, the third Tuesday of the month guest, a creator of a site called GrillGirl.com. She currently has 17,500 Instagram followers and counting. And my pal, Robyn Lindars. Hey, Robyn.
What's up, my friend? How are you?
I'm doing absolutely fabulous and appreciate you making time for the show. As always, battling a little technical issues here, so hopefully everything stays bang up as it did through the balance of Stephen Reichlen's interview, but we'll see how it goes. So,
fingers crossed.
What's going on with your audio? Something changed?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, but it sounds like you're on the phone.
I'm on earbuds. Is that, you want me to take them off?
Yeah, take them off. Sounds like crack.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay.
Okay, that's way better. Way better. That's way better. Yeah, look, Robyn, I don't want to chastise you live in front of a studio audience here, but if you're going to F with the audio setup, this is like stuff that we have to test out prior to air, right? If we have something that works, we stay with what works.
You took all the little rubber things off my earbuds.
Oh, dear. Look at these kids got their fingers, and they're just pulling everything off. All right, so here we go. I have one question to lead with. Of course, how much money is in your bank account? Let's hear it. Is that a joke? You get the joke?
No.
What?
I don't.
Robyn, you must be a big fan of the show. I was receiving emails from listeners that said that I was asking rude questions of my guests, like, how much money is in your bank account? Which I never asked anybody that. Somehow they derived me asking a completely unrelated question then. So as a joke the last couple of weeks, the first question I asked to my guest is how much money is in your bank account? Because I would never ask that of anybody. I'm just trying to make a point. Anyway.
I don't know. I've never heard you ask that. I've known you for a really long time, and you've never asked me.
It's outrageous. Well, until tonight.
They must be smoking some crack.
Yes. Put down your crack, you crackheads. Outrageous. Now, last month, we were talking, as I had said in the open, when I think of invasive things in Florida, it's usually that wild boar stuff where they're rooting their tusks into your Bermuda grass and tearing it up and killing dogs and killing cats and all this other stuff. But I had no idea it was these iguanas, which I've always thought were like peaceful creatures. And, maybe you could see one every so often like Halley's Comet. But as you told us last month, not the fact at all. And they're like more prevalent than M&Ms on candy shelves of grocery stores, these things. And you've been ordered by state to shoot and kill at will, right?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, right? I used to also think, they're cute. And I used to have some little baby ones in my backyard. And then, I moved recently, and it all kind of came about. My girlfriend, we were chit-chatting, and she was like, I feel so bad, but I killed like 16 iguanas in my backyard. And I was like, what? And she's like, yeah, they're just so gross, and they poop all over my car. And she's like, yeah, I have a pellet gun, and I shoot them, and then my husband comes and puts them in the trash. And then I was like, what? I had no idea. You see them around, but I think some neighborhoods, they just get like super out of control. And so, yeah, Fish and Wildlife has basically said you can kill them if you want, because they are invasive, and the population has just grown. And that's what happens with a lot of invasive species. They don't have natural predators, so then they do go crazy. And so the story goes, I never thought I would be like, let's eat some iguana. But, I happened to post something like on my Instagram, like just making a joke because, we Floridians, let's just admit it. Sometimes things are a little crazy down here. And I think I made a joke like, okay, I have an alligator living in my backyard. Now my husband's shooting wild boar on our property, and one of my best girlfriends is shooting iguanas in her backyard. So WTF, and then this other person I know on Instagram, this guy from Panama, was like, oh, well, I'm going to give you my grandmother's iguana recipe. It's delicious. And I was like, what? And then I had another friend like, yeah, haven't you heard? It's called chicken of the tree. And I was like, oh, okay. And so, but it made me start to think, I felt guilty because like people are killing these and literally just dumping them in the trash. Like I have another girlfriend, like an Instagram friend that lives on the southwest coast of Florida, and they actually have their own like chest freezer that they keep the iguanas in until trash day, because you don't want animals rotting in your trash can until it's time to pick them up. So it made me think, why don't I work on an iguana recipe? Because it's kind of sad that they're just all that meat's going to waste and they're just getting dumped in the trash. Like if people are going to kill them anyway, why not like make use of this resource? And so lo and behold, I figured it was just something that was going on in South Florida, and now I live in Southwest Florida. Just drive on the other side. But when I'm going off on a tangent here, but I had that alligator that was hanging out in the river behind my house, and it was kind of freaking me out. So I called the nuisance alligator hotline, and I got to kind of be friends with the trapper, and he could never get the alligator to go away. But then I haven't seen him lately, so I'm happy, right? Like, but I ended up buying some alligator meat with him because I wanted to experiment with it. And while I was talking with him, he was like, "Oh yeah, there's a ton of iguanas around here." And I was like, "Really?" And so I went out and I've been kind of like scouting, and I bought myself an air rifle, a 22 caliber air rifle.
Let's see it. You got it?
I do.
Oh yes. Show us the guns. Look at that thing. Holy moly. Let me get a tight shot. All right, let's see that thing. Look at that.
I haven't put the scope on it yet.
Shoot one in the wall and see if it works.
I haven't even loaded it. Like, I literally just took it out of the box.
Really?
But I'm working on it. I need to get Scott to really show me how to use it. But I can't believe you can even buy something like that off of Amazon. It's crazy.
It's a pellet gun.
Yeah, it's an air pellet, but it's a 22, so I think it's got a bigger pellet, and I bought the one that'll shoot 10 rounds in a row because I don't want to.
It's a semi-automatic pellet gun?
Pretty much, yeah.
Wow, nice.
And that's what the nuisance alligator I just do. Exactly. And because I didn't want to just like maim an animal. If I'm going to shoot to kill, I want to do it and not, I don't want to be inhumane and then just, so like I know once we tried to kill Scott tried to kill a possum with like a BB gun in our backyard and it didn't do it well. He kept shooting it and then it was like, I just felt bad about the whole thing.
Let me tell you a quick opossum story.
So,
can I tell you a quick opossum story? When I was a youth living in Cleveland, I live in Cleveland, but a different part of Cleveland growing up, and a opossum came out of the backwoods in the middle of the day. So you know what that means. That possum is sick as a dog, and it came out kind of limping and hissing, and it was a whole thing. My dad took a cinder block over his head and boom, just crushed it. Oh, man, and this thing was bad news. They're ugly as hell anyway. It had to be 75 pounds, and he just skull stomped it and then picked it up by his tail and threw it back into the woods. I mean, it was like manly stuff. It was, it was a very proud moment for all of us.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Well, they are kind of grody, and you definitely don't want to have like run-ins with your pets and stuff. And yeah, that possum that that Scott tried to kill, he ended up having to drown in the pool because the pellets didn't work. And I was like, I don't want that to ever like happen again, you know? So, but I haven't found any iguanas of my own. And so I Googled nuisance iguana removal and met up with this guy named Nick and got some iguana meat from him. And he's the guy that I sent you pictures. I mean, there are some places that are just having like total outbreaks. Like in one neighborhood, he picked up 76 iguanas alone, which is pretty crazy. Wow. So I guess the whole point is like, I just felt bad that people are just killing them. At least like you can make use of the meat, like if you've ever read my website, you'll see that I have a lionfish recipe, which lionfish is another invasive species, and not just in Florida, but like the entire East Coast, and they're getting in the West Coast. And they originally come somewhere from Asia, and the story is they were let off somewhere near Fort Lauderdale, and they have no natural predators either, and they're like decimating the oceans because nothing eats them and they eat everything. And so there's the saying, eat them to beat them. So they've been, at least in Florida, making them commercially available where you can cook them and they taste really good. So it's like a way to get on top of them.
Nice.
So, it's kind of like, I'd say trying to make some lemonade out of lemons, if you will.
So are you like close to some kind of a recipe reveal, or do you still like you need the meat first in order to figure out how you're gonna, and is it processed already, or do you have to like rip the skin and dress and do all the dirty stuff?
Yeah, I actually have 2 iguanas already skinned in my freezer right now. So I'm going to start playing around with one, and I'd love to grill them because I know I'm a grill girl and my recipe is all about grilling, but I honestly think they'd probably be better fried, like some fried iguana tacos, kind of like a Baja fish taco, because I've heard they taste a lot like alligator, and alligator, in my opinion, is also best fried. Yeah. So that's what I'm working on. And to do justice to the guy who gave them to me, he didn't charge me for the meat or anything. I want to really do a video or really kind of make a big splash about it. But that's definitely coming. So it should be Should be really interesting. In the spirit of always trying new things, this year I am definitely trying something new. Who knew I would be developing an iguana recipe?
Well, I mean, it certainly never crossed my mind, not even for a second. And did you take video of like getting the skin off and all that stuff? I mean, we got to see it like from beginning to end, I think.
Well, that's what I really want to do. So he just gave me the meat already. He'd already prepared it. So my goal is that I really want to get my own and do the field dressing and video that part. And ideally what I'd like to do, and I want to just try to break the internet with this, is, you know how a lot of people will take like the alligators and like smoke them, but like leave the head on or something. I want to do that with the iguanas. Like I'd actually love to stick it on my pellet smoker and leave the head on, and maybe even some of the back, and like smoke it, and just honestly, just for the shock value, I think it would just be crazy and different and fun. So when I do get my own, when I do harvest my own iguana, that's what I'd like to do.
All right. Well, I can't wait to follow the exploits of Robyn the Grill Girl taking down the iguana with her .22 caliber pellet gun, and then field dressing it right there. And
Air
then,
rifle.
Air rifle, and then leaving the head on. Maybe do like that whole bacon wrap thing, like they do with the alligators too, where you wrap the whole meat in the bacon before you put it on the cooker. You know, because bacon kicks everything over the top, you know, and makes it viral. Yeah, right.
Plus, it's very lean. There's like no fat on these types of meat. You know, like bacon would be perfect. That's exactly what I should do.
Keep it moist, little flavor, of course. I'm here to help you break the internet whenever possible. Now,
exactly. Let's do it.
I teased in the open that next week, I guess it is, that the embedded correspondents will be taste testing and evaluating the Subway brisket sandwich and the Arby's brisket sandwich. Now, the Arby's brisket sandwich has been out for years now, but the Subway has just introduced their new brisket sandwich. So have you partaken in any of the Subway sandwich or the Arby's sandwich yet?
No, that just seems wrong. But if I was going to partake, I would do Arby's because I don't know.
Because they have the meats?
Because Arby's.
Bad joke, I know. Sorry.
Well, I was about to say it because that is their tagline, but I don't think like Subway and brisket is like such a stretch, and brisket anywhere is a stretch, I feel like. But if someone's going to do it, and if I was going to try it, I'd rather do it at Arby's just because I actually think their sandwiches are pretty decent. So I feel like they would execute it better than Subway would.
All right. Well, we're going to put that to the test here the next week for sure. Before I let you go, anything else that you're working on? Or I know World Food Championships is coming up quickly, and you're going to be in Dallas doing that. So how are you preparing?
Well, that's the other thing. I really need to be focusing on that. I'm pretty sure I can't turn in grilled iguana. I think that I definitely would not win with iguana.
Probably not.
So, yeah, you know, it's no electricity. So I'm just trying to kind of get my game together and my plating. Like, what do they provide? You know, because I've never done the World Food Championships. Oh. And the competitions that I have experience with are Memphis and May and the state cook-offs. And Memphis is kind of its own unique thing anyway, the way they do judging and everything. And I've really got tough competition because Christina Fitzgerald is one of the girls I'm competing against at the Firewoman Challenge. Mm-hmm. She just won the American Royal. Tina Cannon has won it this actual competition like 2 times already. Mm. And then there's a couple other women, I should say, chicks. I call myself a girl. I'm 41 and so it's going to be pretty crazy. So I better bring my game face and just show up with my game face on and be focused and just kick some ass. So, but I'm excited.
What did you said Christina Fitzgerald won the American Royal? Like, what did she win?
They didn't win the Royal, but I think she and her team, and her husband, they own a restaurant.
Sugar Fire.
Yes, and they won first in chicken, I believe, and something else. Okay. So if any of you guys out there on the interweb want to send me tips or ideas on plating and what other people that you know in this category, or the Firewoman Challenge. Previously, I think they called it the Cowboy Charcoal Fire and Ice. Yeah. What they've done in the past and what worked well, I'm all ears, you guys. I've been doing my own research, but I'd love my barbecue family to help me. But at the end of the day, I'm stoked because what I'm doing is I'm actually interviewing all of the females I'm competing against and putting the interview on my website.
Oh, nice.
So in the kind of true to form about Grill Girl, I want to highlight other women grilling too, and kind of share their story and some of their recipes. So it'll be cool to meet them that way and also get to know them as competitors. So yeah, I'm stoked. And then if you guys didn't notice, which I've been quiet about it, but I am going to do a big giveaway and make a big deal about it. I actually just did a rebrand. If you look at my logo, it looks a little different than it did. So lots of changes going on around here.
All right. You are busy as always. If you're not following her on Instagram, give her a follow at Grill Girl Robyn. 17,000 plus of you are already doing that. But if you're not, go ahead and do it. Great content there. And then what is it, barn to house, or what's the other one that you're doing separate to that, barn to what?
I do. Yeah, I just started the one that's kind of documenting our adventure of building a house out in the middle of nowhere, out in the country. It's called Bungalow to Barn.
Right. Bungalow to Barn. Sorry.
Yep. And before I jump, I do have to give a shout out to some of the guys I'm working with, like Smithfield and Kingsford. Check out some of the recipes I've done with them on my site. So yeah, always lots of fun with you, Greg. And I always love catching up with you, and you do a great job on the show. So super happy you have me on here.
All right, Robyn, we will see you again next month, and we'll talk then.
Bye.
All right, there she is. There's Robyn right there. Just like that, she's gone magically. I would suggest getting in touch with one Sylvie Curry, barbecue champion, who has taken at least once in the Fire and Ice competition, if I'm not mistaken. Finished very well. I mean, she's like professional barbecue competitor, for crying out loud. Sylvie Curry, if you didn't know. Southside Market and Barbecue. Hold on a second. You know what? I'm going to save that. I'll save that. Go check out the new logo, the rebrand. Grillgirl.com is the website. Iguana recipe. It sounds like sooner than later. And, oh, damn it, I meant to ask her if she's saving any weight for my No Names Please delicatessen here on West 29th Street. I'll have to get to her offline on that. Smokin' Joe's Pit Barbecue. She has a mad crush on you. No, she doesn't. Thanks, though. Her husband is a real man who kills stuff and bought 200 acres of wilderness. Do you know how many hundreds of acres of wilderness I would buy? 0. This stuff creeps me out. I am no man. Trust me, no man. Can't fix anything. I don't know how to fix cars. I don't want to hunt anything. No. I'm a city guy. I like high-end steaks and nice, comfy shoes. All right, we're back to wrap the first hour. Stick around. We will be right back.
Big name interviews, advice on cooking brisket and ribs, and the only host willing to share his honest opinion on all things important in the world of barbecue. It's the BBQ Central Show.
All right, coming back at you with Fireboard. Monitor up to 6 different temperatures simultaneously. Connect to Wi-Fi for cloud-based monitoring, or connect via the Bluetooth. If you have Alexa or the Google Assistant, you're in luck. It's fully integrated with both. And you can buy yours at fireboard.com. If you have questions, you call 816-945-2232. When they sent me my Fireboard, I didn't press it like right into use. But when I started using it, it easily became my most favorite automatic or remote thermometer. I mean, it's got 6 inputs, so you can get a variance of, this many pit temperature probes, this many internal probes. You can use one of those, or it's got I forget what they call it, but like an accessory port on the side, so you can run a fan. So to some degree, it's like automatic temperature control. All right. We're back with the second hour. Stick around. We'll be right back.